Welcome to the Comix Zone. Welcome to the Comix Zone.
What's going on, nerds? This is Mike.
This is Bill.
And this is the Comix Zone live.
Woo!
We're live streaming right now. Today is, Tuesday the 16th?
Yeah.
And we got our good buddy Zach Custard with us today. What's going on, my man?
Another day in paradise. I actually have to compliment you on that intro. It got me feeling a little jazzed up. I'm all about that.
MC Virus hooking it up.
Yep, shout out
MC
to
Virus, no kidding.
Hooking up the beats for us there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kid's got a talent for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So today we're going to talk our nostalgic movies that we loved either growing up or
Just make us feel
just
like
movies,
a kid again.
yeah, movies that stuck with you that you watched a lot.
If you quote it all the time, you can put a T-shirt or make a bumper sticker out of it. You know,
But we're not talking like Step Brothers kind of movies. Like last time I
whatever
heard that, I fell off my dinosaur.
I mean, that was like when I was in college, so that doesn't.
Okay, so
that doesn't be nostalgic for me.
right.
We're
Okay.
originally talking being nostalgic, but what is that? It really depends on how old you are, even where you grew up.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I got a bottle of Buffalo Trace
Absolutely. Oh, and
for everybody.
he's pouring it up. Look at Mike.
Yep.
Good Lord. Professional bartender over here. What a guy.
Before we get started, before we get into movies and everything, though,
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that.
let's jump into check this shit out. We got a little bit of news coming up this week.
a lot of cool stuff coming out. New streamings.
What did you had something?
So I'm just excited about the new Banner of War is concluding. So this is Donny Cates' comic book story about Thor and Hulk coming together. Without spoiling it anything, it's just like a battle royale and kind of a whole new level.
Now, you
And the
say
conclusion is coming out this week. So it's a comic book, 5-part series by
Right.
one of my favorite authors.
so you say coming together. Are we talking like pitted against each other or
Correct.
actually? Oh, dude. Yeah.
So
No,
it's-
that's going to be awesome. That's almost like a Wolverine Deadpool combination. You
It
know
is,
what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
classic battle
yeah,
of all ages. So
absolutely. I can't wait for that.
So it's a 5-part, I think 5 or 6, and it's pretty epic. Do you want a spoiler? Do we need a little spoiler for it?
Boy, I don't know. I don't know.
So Thor becomes empowered with the power of Hulk, the gamma radiation,
Oh,
and Hulk becomes empowered with
a
Thor.
god
So
power.
they
So is it like Thor Banner or
Yeah,
Thor Hulk?
that's kind of confusing as far as Hulk, because Hulk is kind of a giant robot controlled by Bruce Banner. It sounds really confusing, but in the comic, it's really cool because he's able to tell 3 different stories all at the same time.
Wow.
So you get, I mean, it's very Inception describing it being like, what the fuck is really happening? But on paper, it works. You got to kind of just let go and stop, let go of any reality or anything like that.
You really got to stop analyzing it to its core and just
Exactly.
let it be how comics were intended to be, and just go along with the story through the highlights.
Yeah,
to the
stop
lows
questioning a man that can fly or has, powers of a
Yeah.
spider. Yeah, of course.
Absolutely, that's why we're in love with comics, is because it's not reality.
On top of that, the latest issue of House of Slaughter, latest issue of Something is Killing the Children, Silver Coin, and Berserker are all out now.
Yep.
Wow.
So we need to do an episode on the Berserker.
Once it finishes.
So there's one more, number 10, right?
I'm
There's 9
not
just
entirely
came out.
sure how many they're going, so
That's.
um,
I think there's. It feels
10,
like there's
10
one
would be
more.
the latest issue.
Because I think I have 9 still, or 9's the newest, but either way, that should be once they wrap up that storyline, we need to kind of
Yeah,
do
just do a whole episode
just
on
on that.
that.
Just do like a full recap on it.
hmm
Yeah.
It's a great story. If you haven't read it, you should check it out before we get into that episode.
Very bingeable.
Or yeah, that's the one you just want to read straight through. It's hard to
get the whole.
Hard to put it down.
Well, yeah, and comic issues go quick. You can read one in 10, 15 minutes, and then you're waiting another month for the next one. So it's like
perfect.
It's definitely one of those you want to. Here, I'll take it.
That'll definitely be one that I'll have to pick up because I know about the Berserker, but I haven't actually picked it up. So it'll be a fun one to.
And
if anything,
Keanu Reeves comic, right?
Yeah,
that's yeah.
If anything, you should grab it on digital and read it that way, or grab a graphic novel when it's complete.
Available on Amazon.
I'm sure. Yeah. You can get single issues. I don't think they have any graphic novels available yet.
I would wait for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think getting the whole story, be able to pick it up from start to finish, would be worth it.
Yeah.
I think, and I haven't seen how it ends, but it hasn't let me down yet.
Perfect.
Which
awesome.
I think is hard to say because I can be kind of
it's a steady burn on that.
A bit of a critic, is what you're saying.
I can be, yeah.
Yeah.
If it makes me entertained and it makes me feel like a child again, I'm sold. I mean, that's what it's about. It's kind of being that kid again and young and don't give a fuck or whatever.
Right. No, and getting lost in the comic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as we change to movies, but I think you had something else to talk about. Check this shit out.
Also this week, Dragon Ball Superheroes, the feature film, is coming out. Will be in theaters here in Casper.
Yeah.
Me, Ted, Chelsea, and Vince are all going to go see that. And then the next day, which is Friday, we will do an episode of Dragon D's Balls, all about that movie. So a special episode of our special episodes.
And I can only imagine that is going to feature quite a few spoilers along to go with that, right?
Absolutely. The whole thing will be littered with them. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, maybe save the episode and come back to it after you're done. But we also have more episodes out. We just did the Frieza Saga, which came out this week. Just today, actually. So
perfect.
Go check those out as well.
Absolutely.
Lots of content.
Diving into, you guys want to dive into the movies now?
Sure.
Yeah. So as you're the guest, again, what we came up, just so everybody else knows, we all came with 5 nostalgic movies that we love. I mean, that was really the premise.
6 for those.
And we didn't try to define what nostalgic was for either one of us beyond that. So we wanted to be free and open. And also, if you're watching the live stream, let us know what some of your favorite movies are. And we want to kind of
we want to
you too.
Yeah, we definitely want to see some comments in there, and we'll get to you and talk about some of the movies you put in the comments. That'd be great too.
Yeah.
So starting off,
so Zach should kick us off.
Yeah, let's kick it off. What's your first movie in your 5?
Yeah, go figure. Just because I had all the apparel, I had bed sheets attributed to this movie. I had pillow sheets. I had curtains that my grandma, handmade for me. It's gonna be Spider-Man. And I mean,
that's Tobey Maguire's.
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Aaron Lauman's coming in with Howard the Duck.
Oh,
that was
it was weird, but I loved it.
That's a crazy movie. I remember watching that when I was a kid, but I mean, it's not something I remember. I remember
the mom from Back to the Future was in it.
The duck titties.
Woo!
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, that's a highlight of that movie for sure.
With Launchpad McDuck.
So Spider-Man, that was on my list as well.
Right. And I figured it would be.
That was the movie that, and I've said this before on the show, but that was the movie that gave me hope in superhero movies, as far as like, they can make a movie that looks like the comics and it doesn't suck.
But it was so, not only did it not suck, but it was so true to, just the storyline of, a real internal struggle of like, yes, I am this superhero, but I also want to continue, living a life as a normal person, but I've been blessed with these responsibilities of, yeah, I can do great things, but I don't, at some point you kind of, as the trilogy continues, you kind of understand that like maybe he doesn't want to do this, you know, like he was picked out of a group of however many people, if you want to think of it like that, and gifted these responsibilities with a good heart, and now he has to go out and he has to, you know, fight crime, and he has to do all these things, which we see in you know, the second Spider-Man, where he really struggles with that internal conflict, you know what I mean? So I think that Sam Raimi did that first film so well that like every scene just sticks with me, even now, you know, however many years later. I don't actually know when it was when it came out, but yeah,
I watched them all when they came out, when No Way Home came out prior to it, and it still held up. The one thing that bothered me is how women's were all damsels in distress.
Right, and I think you and I talked about that
part, you know,
help
and like
me.
And, I mean, that's all it, you know, and it's like that dated it for me, but everything else I think really held up.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I mean, the cinematography, the CGI, and let's not forget Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
My God.
I actually thought he got even better in No Way Home.
I agree with you on
He
that.
was even better as
It just shows what a high tier actor he really is.
He really is.
yeah, he really took it seriously and got even better.
And like some of the memes that just said that he actually just wandered up on the stage and acted all
acted how he does.
He was just him. But
and you know, his obviously one thing that sticks out for me with Willem Dafoe that has not changed throughout the years, and I want to say probably the decade and a half it's been since he put on the goblin costume, is that switch in personality from where you get like Willem Dafoe and you see it more
like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see it so much more in No Way Home, where he shows up, and if you haven't seen this, there are going to be spoilers ahead, but if you haven't, shame on you.
By now, no, it's too late for even hitting the spoiler sound effect. You're too late.
100%. But where he's in Aunt May's shelter, and he's all like, I just don't know who I am, and like, you know, I went to my house and somebody's living in my house and Oscorp doesn't exist. And then we go from that, and then they're in Happy's apartment, and you know, Tom Holland is like sensing that something is wrong, and then he webs his hand and he's like, yeah, that's some trick you have there, that sense of yours is what he says, and you're just like
you know, that role always made me feel like he would have been an amazing Joker too.
He would.
Oh my!
I bet he still could.
I bet he could.
He totally
too.
could.
Yeah.
Just
if they did like the Three Jokers storyline in a movie.
Yeah.
He could be the older Joker. He would be amazing.
He would be incredible. I have no doubt about that. Yeah, that would be.
So one thing I've noticed about just talking about nostalgic movies in general is a lot of these ones that kind of made my list actually end up being remade later on. Just like Spider-Man, we keep seeing them again and again. That not only is nostalgia something that we're fond of, but it still makes Hollywood money. They're still chasing those dreams, those same stories.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a reason they keep remaking those stories. They are great stories, you know, and
like
old reliable as far as like, you know, Spider-Man's gonna do something in the movie theater, like in the box office. You know what I mean? It's like, so. Luckily, we've gotten 3 really stellar versions of Spider-Man, and we really haven't been crapped on as far as that goes.
Yeah,
which
except
we
for
can't.
Venom, not Venom, but 3, Tobey Spider-Man 3 with that Venom.
You're
okay,
right,
well,
but an introduction to that, I don't think it was terrible.
I don't necessarily mean individual movies, just like overall,
True, I would agree.
Each collection of Spider-Man movies has been not perfect, but great in their own ways.
Yeah, they all have their own unique sense of nostalgia, and you know, I don't think you can really shit on Spider-Man 3 too hard with Sam Raimi's idea of that, because it would have been an evolution, and it truly was an introduction into his next enemy, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like,
I think that movie could have been better if they would have focused on one villain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That fell prey to that, trying to pack in as many characters as possible thing.
Absolutely.
yeah,
And obviously recasting Eddie Brock would have been a great idea too.
yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. So with those movies, also I want to throw in a tidbit here, which is probably going to go on a tangent for both of you guys. Something I've seen going around the internet here lately has been that the MCU died with RDJ.
No,
No.
I
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
No?
Hopefully he goes into directing. That's
Robert
what
Downey Jr.
Yeah. He did stuff with Sweet Tooth. That was
He
the comic
did.
book adaptation that went onto Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his production company, but I'm still giving him credit. He's got his name on the company, so he must have done something right.
But I thought that one was him and his wife. Or was
Yeah, I think so. You're right.
Okay.
Which is also like James Cameron and his wife, director, producer combo. We
Yeah.
had a little bit of chat, and we have similar directors who directed our favorite movies.
And
Nostalgic movies.
and if you're watching, like like we were saying, if you're watching the live stream, drop your favorite nostalgic movies in the comments. We'll read them off, discuss those as well.
Absolutely. If
Sean dropped Top Gun, the original. We're actually going to call him up here in a little bit.
Yeah, we'd
to
like
talk
to
about that.
Talk with him about
Again,
that.
one of these nostalgic movies that came back again.
but was so good for
It
the
was.
second time. You know what I
It
mean?
was.
Like,
It was super good.
I saw it in the Chinese theater in Los Angeles, and I cannot tell you what an experience that truly was. Like to see Top Gun Maverick in the Chinese theater with the Dolby Atmos and that big ass screen that they have, and seeing it with like 1,700 people, all the seats full. I mean, it was truly an iconic moment for me as a moviegoer, and also just the movie as a whole just blew me away.
All right, got to interrupt. So
Yeah.
Donovan Short jumped on here and mentioned a classic Blues Brothers.
No, he didn't.
Absolutely.
Like Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh no, the original.
The
Come on, I'm
original.
not even gonna. I don't have to ask. Yes.
Yeah, definitely the
charge.
original.
Well, I had to
Car
ask. 'cause
chase scene. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but knowing Donovan, it definitely would have been the original. That is like so classic. I mean, it's an unforgettable movie. It really
All
is.
right, so coming around,
I need to watch that one again.
Yeah.
your first movie on the
Oh,
list.
my first movie, just because I kind of teased it with James Cameron, the original
sorry.
Alien.
Clearing my
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, and Aliens. The sequel is close there on it. I think it was just a great sci-fi movie that was a horror movie as well.
Yeah.
Minimal budget. They were groundbreaking in what they did for cinematography and telling a story. With the budget.
And being scary without having to show the monster every scene.
Yeah,
Right. Just
Suspense.
suspense. I think
It
that they
actually
really
put-
nailed the suspense on
Yeah,
that
it
movie.
actually played on not showing the monster as much as possible.
Which,
Mhm.
funny
Which
enough,
was kind of a thing in like scary movies back in the day when they were using practical effects, and then you only had the budget to show the whole thing maybe one time at the very
I
end.
mean,
And
2 times max,
Right.
and like a little teaser of it in the middle, and then at the end.
so yeah, Alien was one of the best to pull that off in a scary way, to where you really felt that suspense. You really didn't, just could you imagine
You're trapped on a ship.
being on a fucking ship or a space station? You can go literally nowhere.
millions of
and be
miles
s-
from home.
Being stuck with the equivalent of like a shark with legs
Good
that
Lord.
can just climb on anything, be
Jumped out of your
anywhere,
friend's stomach, chest.
Yeah.
be silent, as like, and you can't, you would be helpless as fuck. That
Yeah.
would be. So what a great movie, and like what a great idea.
And then also trying to, put that influence of like, how are you going to survive? You were forever away from home.
Exactly.
The nearest place that you can get help that you know of is back on Earth, and you are nowhere near that. And the only safe space you know is on this ship. but on that ship with you, some creature that you have never encountered in your life, and it wants to kill you.
Well, they're technically the perfect killing machine, right? Like,
Yeah. Almost like a lion, if we were to compare it to anything, right?
well, they are kind of cat-like, and just in their grace,
Yeah.
and their ability to move silently and kill you from basically any angle and catch you off guard for the most part. Most of the time, it catches people
Completely.
pretty much off guard,
Yeah.
or I mean, even when you're like shooting at them, it's like seems like they're hard to even hit, and even
Then
if you
bleed,
do,
they bleed acid.
yeah,
So even that, you're all like, well, fuck.
you got to be careful. You make that thing bleed too much, you're gonna punch right through the outside of the ship,
And then you're fucked.
depressurize the whole thing, and be fucked. Which, by the way, in what was it, the fourth movie? That's how she ends up taking out the. It's like the hybrid between human and xenomorph. Remember, she like flips
I don't remember.
Sigourney Weaver, like she's like a clone, and her blood has acid too. She flips her blood onto the,
Oh,
the
you're
bulkhead.
right. I do remember that.
and then
so she
it
gets
makes
cut.
a little hole in the window, and it like sucks it through the little hole, bit by bit.
Which just reminds me of like that.
Maybe that's the third movie.
I think it is the
Yeah,
third, but
Yeah, the third one was really good. I think the first one was a great horror suspense.
yep,
The second one was a great military movie.
yep.
And then the third one kind of introduced crazy cinematography where they're doing this loop-de-loo around like the circles when the alien and like the point of view of the alien.
Oh,
running
yeah,
through
and
the
it would-
holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty
Always.
cool.
So what's your first movie then?
I think bringing it back around. I mean, this keeps it kind of on track with what you were saying, but the original Predator.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So that's one of Zach's picks
Was
as
that
well.
another one?
That was
I mean, not but I mean, just great that you guys we're all on the kind of the same page.
yeah, absolutely. I had to say that Predator was just a phenomenal.
And if you haven't seen the new movie Prey, I would recommend seeing that.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen the logo on Hulu, and
It's fucking-
I've meant to click on it.
I think it's really good. I
Yeah.
mean, it's got mixed reviews, of course, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But
that's
personally, for me, it felt very much like the original movie, just but also you get kind of another perspective as far as like her, the main girl in the movie, and the Predator, because the Predators coming to Earth are always there to hunt
fun.
find the toughest challenge they possibly can and be blooded and hopefully come back and be
Honored.
it's a rite of passage to
Right.
become a warrior in their culture. So this is basically the main female protagonist in the movie. She wants to be a hunter in her tribe. She wants to she's looking to go on a hunt where something's hunting her as well, something dangerous, so she can prove herself.
And that's the new
And so they're
Prey
on
series, right?
her. Yeah, it's not a series; it's a movie, but they
Oh.
are basically on the same mission.
Perfect.
Like both looking to
Achieve that rite of
yeah,
passage.
achieve that rite of passage and take a step up in their
It's almost like a Craven story.
Craven the Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Sorry, I went to West.
Yeah, Craven.
That's Craven. Spider-Man.
Well, Craven is a lot like that. That was
Yeah,
why he
that's why.
hunted Spider-Man, was
This was
because
the challenge.
it was the it was never anything personal.
Mm-hmm.
It was always about, he looks really tough to kill, so I'm going to try to kill that.
It was the conquest.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's incredible.
And so technically that movie Prey is the sequel. I'm not entirely sure. They've kind of messed up the whole timeline for me, because they're saying in this movie, in Prey, it would be the first time a predator has visited Earth, which completely writes off like Alien versus Predator and a lot of the movies that came after the first one.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think that maybe
So I think they did like like that Halloween remake, or like not the remake, but they did like it was like Halloween 20 years later, and Jamie Lee Curtis was
yeah,
but it was like a direct sequel to the first one, and they wrote off all the other Halloween movies.
Yeah, so
it's kind of like that.
Which isn't the first time they've done that in Hollywood. You know, they've done that with the X-Men movies, which has totally like destroyed that timeline beyond redemption, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They I think it's because they have had so many.
Sean is saying Predator was on his list, and it's a prequel, and Alien versus Predator isn't canon anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, we'll have to.
It's definitely not canon because they're saying this is the first time a Predator has been to Earth, but it's only like 1890 something, so or 1870 something or something like that. So it's not that long ago. And Alien versus Predator, they obviously have like a pyramid under Antarctica that's been there for
God knows how long.
a million years or whatever it is. So it doesn't match up. It kind of sucks that stuff isn't canon anymore, but it's interesting to see if they continue.
It would be.
And it would be cool if they like staged it through time. And so you got maybe like 100 years later, and they kept doing it like through time and just like a new culture as well. They're fighting somebody from another culture, like maybe go to Japan and,
see how they were to deal with.
Or, wherever.
Yeah. So actually speaking of like Alien and Predator and all that stuff, because, obviously you had Alien, I had Alien 2. And really my big...
That was on your list?
It was. Alien 2 was on my list because I actually loved Bill Paxton so much. Like, my dad and I, every time that we see Alien 2 or we see Bill Paxton in anything, it is just such a phenomenal character that he plays because he's the comedic relief. He is such an outspoken character to the point where the other characters are like, hey, why don't you shut the fuck up? You know what I mean? So that for my dad and I was a very nostalgic movie, and we've seen that probably well over 100 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we got Sean on the line here. What up? Maybe. Oh, there we go. Wrong button. There we go.
Wrong switch.
Wrong switch.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's going on, Sean?
Not much.
So Predator was on your list too, is one of your top nostalgic picks too.
Yes, it was. And I had to watch the first one and the second one again because I watched Prey with my teenage boys the other day, and they were bringing back stuff because I hadn't seen it in probably like a decade. Right. So I had to go back and watch them. But yeah, the Alien versus Predator 1 and 2, or whatever the second one was called, aren't canon. But the other standalone Predator movies are supposed to all be in the same universe.
What about Predators, the one where they take them to that game reserve planet?
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
That's
that
supposed
movie
to be
is so fucking legit, dude.
That was a good one.
It was. But look at the cast. Good grief. Everybody on that cast
that
was a star.
Dude, that movie might be the best in the series, honestly, I think.
I agree. I 100% agree.
The throwdown between the Yakuza guy, he finds that fucking katana that's like 1,000 years old.
So sick.
And then they throw down like classic, samurai movie style in the middle of the grassy field, with the full moon in the background. And then they end up running past each other and killing each other with one stroke. Just so tight.
Yeah, that was an incredible scene, and let alone movie.
And I was thinking about this. Is like the Predators. It's interesting that it almost seems like they respect humans as equals, even though we are obviously at a disadvantage to them. But they keep coming back to hunt us. So
I wouldn't say equals, because think about like hunters. Wyoming hunters, even you can respect the lion, but your gun's going to be more powerful.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. They see us as a challenge, though.
So wouldn't you both say that, like, technologically, that Predators, with everything that they have, they've got the infrared sight, they've got that massive fucking rocket on their shoulder, and aside from their physical ability of being faster and everything like that, if you take away all their technology, they're really not.
They're just really durable, strong, fast.
Yeah, right.
An intelligent bear, more or less.
Yeah,
and they would still have the advantage, though. I mean, they would still have that physical advantage.
Yeah, 'cause that's one of the things
bear
they
with
showed in
lasers.
Prey.
And it's like you said, you don't go hunting a lion without something you know is going to give you the advantage. Obviously, I'm just saying they respect us as their mental equals. Like, we can outsmart them and give them a real fight.
yeah.
And not every person, but that's why they go looking. They try to force an amazing fight out of somebody, because if you go down and just say, hey, I'm going to start hunting you, you might not get that fight or flight reaction. Like, most people are going to fight. A lot of people are going to fight and lose, and then you're going to have that one exceptional person that
I'm fucking running.
gives you an insane challenge.
Right.
Bunker down and hide and
Bunker down and hide, man. I got
hide or run.
I got a storm shelter. I'm barricading myself in. I got food.
So
All right, now I've noticed you guys have been saying Predator has been the oldest movie, with the exception of when Donovan said Blues Brothers. But I have a couple of what I would call classics.
Okay.
To go even, you know what I mean? First on my list is Superman, Christopher Reeves.
No,
Oh shit.
When we talk about comic book movies, like we had The Incredible Hulk, we had Wonder Woman, we had Batman, but Wonder Woman and Batman were kind of campy. The Hulk was just a little adult. Like, it was less about the grab and smash. There was a lot of things I didn't get as a kid. But Superman came out when I was like 4 or 5. And to me, in 1981, those were the most incredible effects. Like, I had no idea how he could fly. I remember how when he was a little kid, like when they first found him when his spaceship crashed and he picked up the back of their truck. I mean, that's a very practical special effect to do now. Like, matter of fact, they did a whole bunch of that stuff in Moon Knight, you know what I mean? But like, that was just breaking a barrier for me as a kid.
And Sean, I just want to make sure that now you fully understand how they did that special effect of making him fly.
Oh, of course I know now.
Okay.
But again, yeah,
Drones.
you mean he wasn't really flying?
Oh my god.
Yeah, right?
Oh my
You
god!
just ruined it for me, Zach.
No.
It had a really good story too. The story was solid.
Yeah.
And it still holds up today, I would argue. I mean,
Yeah.
No, it definitely does.
The first two definitely. Even the one with Richard Pryor was still funny. The story was
That's
just a
the
little
third
bit
one,
too
yeah.
far out there.
That's the third one.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, the first two, those will be my favorites for the rest of my life. They're on my list. And this is coming from a hardcore Marvel guy.
Right.
And while we got you on the line, we got to mention Top Gun, of course. I knew that's on your list.
Hell yeah. Top Gun is on my list. I would always say that's number one because that one changed my life. Before I saw that movie, I was 11 years old, almost 12. I had no plans at all in joining the military. And as soon as I saw that movie, it changed immediately.
You're
like
like,
my
I'm
whole
going.
life. My life trajectory changed after I saw that movie. And
Yeah.
that's why to this day, I don't care what they say about Tom Cruise and Scientology. I don't care how nuts he gets. He is still a premium actor to me. And that movie stands the test of time.
Yeah,
I showed it to my kids and they were like, holy shit, this really is a good movie. It's like, I know.
And that's what we're really talking about when we talk about nostalgic movies that made an impact on you. And this one, like, clearly, like you said, made a huge impact on your entire life.
Definitely.
So
I'm going to go with one that kind of changed my life.
okay,
It's my next pick. Pump Up the Volume.
pump up the volume.
Really?
With
know if I-
Christian Slater. He plays a renegade DJ that he does a fake
Right.
fake DJ, a pirate radio station.
Yeah.
He's like a total nerd outcast at school. But when he's on the air,
He's
he's
this
like
cool-
he's this cool guy. He has this like voice modulator, so he talks in a lower pitch, so you can't tell who he is.
No kidding.
He's got hard Harry.
This
I mean, it's
sounds
kind
like
of
an 80s movie.
Yeah, and then like some kid commits suicide. He calls the show, and he gets in trouble, and they cancel his whole show. But how he actually talks to the kid who's committing suicide is clinically the correct way to do it.
Wow.
So he did.
So this
You're-
kid
from a clinical-
this kid phones into his show, is talking
Saying-
about I'm gonna kill myself, and he tries to
And Christian Slater is actually playing the role of a psychologist, what they clinically should do by the book. How serious are you? You have a plan, and then testing out, feeling that out, and he
like
did
testing
that
the waters with
That's
him.
intense.
to see whether if he was just trying to get attention or actually serious.
So similar to what Sean said about him watching Top Gun and really altering his life course, or really giving him a course in life, I should say. Was Pump Up the Volume something that did that for you? Because I know you ended up in radio. Was that kind of like a driving force for you?
Kind of afterwards, after the thought, it kind of reaffirmed, redirected that.
Wow.
I mean, really what drew me into radio was probably the old tapes on radio,
Okay.
radio vaudeville shows that are
Yeah.
on the radio, or like the Orson Welles and this
Oh yes.
telling a story with all the
Twilight Zone.
soundscapes. Yeah, and Outer Limits kind of.
I used to
kind of thing.
fucking love Twilight Zone. The
I
radio
like
show.
Twilight Zone.
Oh,
just,
Bill.
Yeah.
Yo.
But before we get off that, remember how you said earlier that a lot of the movies that are on our lists have been remade, which
Yep.
shows that how the love factor, the nostalgia. Pump Up the Volume was remade in I believe it was either the late '90s or the early 2000s, with Usher as the main character.
Really?
Oh, fucking course it was.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Fucking
And
course it was.
and they definitely changed, because until you mentioned it right now, I thought that was the one you were talking about, and then I was like, holy shit, that is a remake. I had forgotten.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Well, we appreciate you jumping on the line with us, buddy.
You said you had some older ones. Did you have any other ones that you wanted to drop real quick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I'm a Wu-Tang fan, is because I grew up watching these movies. But Five Deadly Venoms, it's the classic martial arts film. It's a cult classic. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to watch it. Half the sound effects you hear in the first Wu-Tang album came from that film.
Hell yeah.
It does not surprise me that you would go with a movie like that just because of your love for Wu-Tang.
Well,
so.
there's old school.
But
there's
that's
super
what I'm
old.
saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
like
super
my
old
love for the
school.
Wu-Tang, came from those kung fu flicks. Like I've been watching
Yeah.
those old school kung fu flicks since I was old enough to remember the theaters, going with my dad and going with my uncle. And that's why when the Wu-Tang first came out, I was like, I know what that's from. So, I mean, getting into hip hop. But the fact that all of the Wu-Tang are either into kung fu movies or they're into comic books, back when that was taboo, you know what I'm saying, in the early 90s, when that was all still considered nerd shit,
Yeah.
it was great to see some inner city guys that were into the shit that I was into
No,
as an inner city kid,
100%. I could not agree more with you. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
All right, well, one more and I'm going to get off the line for you guys.
Yeah.
And this is because I know a whole lot of people haven't seen it. It's one of Samuel L. Jackson's early films. Gina Davis, The Long Kiss Goodnight. I think it is one of the best movies, one of the funniest movies I have ever seen, and it'll always be in my top 5.
I was really hoping you're going to say Coming to America.
You know what? And it's funny you say that.
That's a
because
great movie too, though.
It is. But I get in this argument all the time with like my family members. When they mention Eddie Murphy's best movies, Coming to America is always the one that most black people are going to put first. And for me, it's always going to be Harlem Nights. I believe
Harlem Nights
Nights.
was fucking amazing.
Amazing. Everybody in that film, from you know what I mean, like the white dude that's in Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Like that movie is. Arsenio Hall was in it for 5 minutes, stole the show. I named my son Harlem partially because of that film. So.
That is like definitely top tier, like probably top 10 of all time movies for me. I loved Harlem Nights, and you know
and
what's
I
so
love
funny?
that you know that.
You know what's so funny is that before, I mean, you and I obviously go back like, probably well over a decade at this point.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started working at the radio station all those years ago, and then you started telling me, you're all like, oh, you haven't seen Harlem Nights? You got to check it out. You got to check it out. And
Right.
you told me that probably for a solid 2.5 years until I was all like, you know what? He finally broke me down.
You're
Fuck
like,
this
all
guy.
right, Jesus, I'll fucking watch it.
So do you own it,
100%.
Sean? Do you own it?
Oh hell yeah!
All right, I'll need to borrow it. I've never seen it.
You gotta check it out. Like, it is.
Bring it to you tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah. But it wasn't until like 2.5 years you finally broke me down, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm definitely gonna watch it. I go home one night from the radio station, and I sit down and I check it out, and I'm like, son of a bitch, because I didn't want you to be right. I really didn't want you to be right. And then I get to the end of it, and I'm all like, well, I'm never going to let him know that he was right, but it is a good movie.
Well, thank you for finally telling me. That made my night.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So on the chat
right.
here, Vincent was saying that his first movie he ever remember seeing was Bambi.
Yeah, that's my my
Get out of
stepdaddy.
here. Get
He said-
out of
He's been
here.
on the
And
podcast before.
Plus, we got my mom in the chat says hi, and Steve.
What up?
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
We really love you guys for watching. So
Vince with Bambi. Can we
that's the list, huh? Sean?
I think
Oh, did we lose him?
I guess he bounced.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, moving on.
So
Next,
I think you're
next
up
movie
next.
on. No,
You've only done one.
he only did one too.
All right.
Yeah, I've only done one. I just
Let's just all point at each other like
yeah,
Spider-Man.
Not Zach. Go ahead. Next movie.
Yeah, so I had a special recommendation for Alien 2, and that's where I gave a shout out to Bill Paxton. My next one, oh man, it's gonna be tough. It's between two. I'll say The Punisher with John Travolta.
Oh God, that's a great movie.
That is a phenomenal movie, is it not?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
I just watched it like 2 weeks
forget
ago.
the guy who plays Punisher. What's his name?
I don't actually know his name, but
The fun fact about him is, like, before that, he had played Punisher in some animated films on top of, like, video games and shit.
yeah,
So it was big on his bucket list
it definitely
to
was.
play a live action Punisher.
And he nailed it.
I think
I'm
he really
looking it
did
up.
too.
Oh,
think-
thank you.
Yeah, what is his name? We really need his name.
Um,
But he doesn't necessarily look the part.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, he is so dedicated to playing Frank Castle and doing it justice that it comes across really well. That's actually another character that has been cast really well, like almost every single time.
Yeah.
Even in Punisher Warzone, I forget the guy's name who played in that one.
Was that
Thomas Jane is the first Punisher.
Okay.
Thomas Jane? Yeah.
Yep, and
Somebody who's an admin or somebody.
Oh, really?
It's probably Sean now that his Facebook thinks it's
yeah.
oh, nice.
But
And then the guy, he's actually in the Thor movies and shit. He was one of Thor's Asgardian buddies.
Oh, you're talking about like the big Viking dude with the massive beard?
Yes. And
Yeah.
so he was the Punisher in Punisher Warzone, and he played another, like a kind of a different
Version
take
of
on it.
Yeah.
But he was much more convincing in the looks. He looked like a hardcore badass motherfucker.
yeah, Ray Stevenson was the best.
You
Vincent
know,
Pagano says.
so as far as the movie you were talking about,
Yeah.
one of the best scenes in that movie is when he is in the apartment. That
Oh my God, you're talking
big
about the Russian.
the big Russian guy with the
Yeah.
striped T-shirt. Now this is important because this is actually something from the comics. That fight actually went down in the comics, and they really did it justice. And then the boiling water to the face.
It was such a beautiful fight scene. Uh-oh.
Layla disagrees.
Layla obviously has some opposition to this.
Better opinions on fight scenes.
Hi there.
Come sit down.
Um,
Your chair.
but no, the overall just movie still remains with me from the point where he's out, that first scene where he's undercover and then he shoots.
It's been a little while, but yeah.
So yeah, the movie starts out and like he's undercover, and John Travolta's son, along with that skeevy guy, I can't remember his name, but it's his son's best friend. They are doing this gun deal, I do believe, or it might be a drug deal, and obviously they're selling to Frank Castle undercover, and then they all take him down. And in the midst of that, John Travolta's son gets shot, and it wasn't by Frank Castle, but they blame him for it, and so like he retires after that. They go out to him and his family go out to this beautiful,
Amusement park, isn't it?
No. It's a beach. It's like a.
Or no, I'm thinking of the comics and the series.
And the
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I'm thinking of the merry-go-round.
yeah.
right. But this is like they're out on this beautiful beach, probably in Hawaii somewhere. And then John Travolta sends his guys and be like, I want this motherfucker dead. And then they finally, find and slaughter his entire family. They shoot him on the dock. They blow up the dock because there's a gas station for fueling up boats on the dock. And miraculously, he survives. And then he comes back and totally destroys John Travolta.
Yeah, it's a really great movie. Great take on the character.
Yeah.
Great casting on Frank Castle. Somebody who respected and wanted to do the character justice.
Correctly, yeah.
And it's a shame it didn't get to continue. He could have been great in the MCU. But we also
Could've
have.
been, but I mean, come
we
on.
also have. What's his name? Something.
John Bernthal. Bernthal.
Yep.
John Bernthal, who is now the new Punisher.
So he is really great.
I liked him a lot as
I loved
the
him.
Netflix series.
And that's what I'm saying is like,
was good.
I don't think the Punisher is somebody that's been miscast. Unless you go back to who played him, Dolph Lundgren at one point.
Yeah.
And that maybe wasn't amazing. But like other than that, every other iteration of him. And Punisher Warzone is a fucking cheese dick movie. It's super corny and
Thank you for admitting that.
it's a shoot 'em up, ridiculous movie, but it's great.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like the old movies that we were talking about. What was it? It might have been AVP, or maybe was it Predator 2? You were saying was a totally military movie?
Aliens.
Aliens 2. So yeah, I mean, it's like one of those where it's just nothing but shoot them up, kill them. We're all about the special effects and
it's all about just blood spatter and
yeah, absolutely.
I think that was to step it up in that movie specifically. They just wanted to show that the aliens were a little more unstoppable than in the first movie. Now you have a squad of well-prepared soldiers that still can't handle this.
Right.
So Netflix has the movies we loved documentary, and Aliens is on there, and it talks about the production of the whole.
You mean the movies that made us?
I'm sorry, yes, the movies that made us.
A great series if you haven't watched
and
it.
it just talks about like how much of like a shit show a lot of these early movies were to put together. Just
That
no
is like
budget.
such a running trope in that. Is like they're
It-
like, this almost didn't even happen.
This almost didn't even happen.
They
every
really,
day, yeah.
it's like every movie. They're like, we had to fucking fight tooth it like Home Alone. That episode was really
I missed
interesting.
that one. I saw the RoboCop episode.
Oh
So yeah,
my
speaking
God.
of nostalgic
fucking-
movies,
yeah.
if you haven't watched that show, go watch it, man. It's so good.
Yeah, it's
I'd
just-
buy
and
that
the-
for
and
a
the
dollar.
And the toys that made us. Oh, RoboCop. That's what MC Virus was saying that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we did a show on Wakanda Forever. If you haven't checked that episode out, go check it out.
yeah,
That's a really great episode.
that's solid.
So I'm next, right?
Yeah, what's next on your list?
I am gonna go with Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
Now, this movie made a massive impression on me as a kid. I wasn't even allowed to watch it. I had to like hide outside the room, peek around the corner.
fucking.
So we watched it after homecoming dance in like senior year in high school.
This movie changed I was into nothing but like cartoons and shit until this movie, and it changed my idea of like what a good movie could be as far as like live action. It was so different from anything else I had seen before it. A different take on like a gangster, more gritty movie, and I was so in love with it that I've probably seen that movie more than 100 times.
So
It was the only movie I've ever seen that kind of broke into pop culture that really broke like linear storytelling apart.
yeah,
I mean, in more fragmented ways than I've seen anything else.
It's where you start with the end of the movie and work your way to the beginning.
Even more than that, though.
Like, how old are you, by the way? Just so I get a
38.
38. Okay, so you're a decade older than me. I'm not even gonna say that, but
Yeah, Bill's damn near 60.
Yeah, he's working his way.
I'm old.
But I was gonna say something that actually I can say equivalates to your feeling of that movie would be The Grudge for me. Like The Grudge was.
That's when did that? That's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie with a girl who, well, technically a little boy.
Hold on. You're grounded for watching Pulp Fiction. It appears you've just been called out by your step pops there on.
Oh, I'm in trouble now. Yeah, my mom's watching, so she knew I watched it when I wasn't supposed to.
Mike's grounded for the next 2 weeks.
I think I could deal with it.
But no, I thought The Grudge was a very prolific horror movie for me and my family. It could have been because my dad had no sense of what was appropriate for us at that time, and it was definitely a rated R movie. Not the best horror movie that I've ever seen, but at my age, probably around 9 or 10, horrified the ever-living shit out of me. Even to this day, I won't watch it. Not because it's probably more now because it's a shit movie. But when I was younger, man, I had nightmares for a long time.
That's actually one of those movies that was, a Japanese film first, and then they adapted it and remade it in America. They did that a lot with like horror movies.
Yeah, they did.
I'm sure that happens a lot with movies, period. I wonder, you know what I mean? Like how many movies, shows, whatever, come from...
That we see now have actually
are rehashings of something that did really well somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then we don't even know about it.
You're right.
They just stripped it out and put something else, put a different skin on the top.
You could change your IP address for Netflix or get like a private VPN, and then you could just see all their shit.
Yeah.
Which would actually give you an insight to what movies have been, duplicated or what shows have been duplicated or dubbed in the American version.
Well, not even dubbed. They like reshoot the movie with different actors and everything.
Right.
Before we get too far away from Pulp Fiction, that movie, not only did I love that movie, but it also started me on my path to just being a really huge Quentin Tarantino fan.
Oh my God.
In my eyes, he can do no wrong as far as movies go. You can't tell me shit about like which movies suck and which ones don't, because I think they're all great.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
There's not one Quentin Tarantino movie that I dislike.
However, I will say that sometimes he seems to go a little bit over the top as far as... so one movie that comes to mind would be Django. The D's silent.
With the blood and all that?
Not even the blood. I think it was just the over pronunciation of like... like the gunfire, and then when you do the gunfire, like it shoots somebody back like 10, 15 feet, and you're all like, that's not fucking real.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be, like those grindhouse type films or those old spaghetti westerns where they did all that extra, you overact, and it's
you could be
it's
right.
It's all a nod to that kind of thing. He's a huge just film buff in general, so he is always making nods to old cinema and the ways they did things. It's like on that lesser film, you had to, over exaggerate your movements or
to
have a little more blood just so you could see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You shoot somebody, there's a little trickle of blood.
And then they fall down.
I mean, it's like Kill Bill when they'd cut a limb off and it would just spray. It's just a nod to anime and those over-the-top kung fu samurai movies that were so prevalent and that he respects so much.
Yeah, so I can appreciate that 100%. But yeah, Quentin Tarantino, definitely. And funny enough, I didn't see Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs is great.
Probably till I was like 24. And I can't believe, after seeing that movie, I cannot believe it took me 24 years to watch it. Like, it was...
Well, you even watched Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
Jackie Brown's an amazing movie.
Yes, it is.
I think that might be his first.
Okay, your mama says it's over the top and can be putting off, and you're
So grounded.
I don't care if you're 38.
Get out of the chat, mother.
No.
I love that. I love that your mom is still parenting you. At
Yeah,
38,
dude,
like,
get my mom out of here, guys. Comment some movies.
Mom, you're booted from the chat. I'm sorry.
I've got the control. She's staying right where she is.
So next movie, Bill, what do you got, buddy?
Okay, so next movie, I'm going to switch it up and go something a little bit more lighthearted and older. Steve Martin's The Jerk.
No,
Dude,
really?
that's so funny.
Yes.
Like somebody was just talking about that with me the other day.
And it was almost, I had to decide which Steve Martin because it was very close to LA Story
Yeah.
is another one just because, I mean, totally different, but I just had to go with The Jerk because there's just so many quotable great movies or moments from that.
But I mean, Steve Martin
Found my purpose.
Steve Martin as an actor has always had like just some phenomenal one-liners. Some
This was like his
phenomenal acting
cocaine
scenes.
heyday too.
Probably. Or just after, around, yeah.
Yeah, when he, also phenomenal banjo player.
Yeah. And
I think he's actually even got a bluegrass band.
he's still, yeah, and he's still sane. He's still like, he hasn't gone totally crazy
Yeah.
like some actors of that age or just have died off.
Or have
Jim
died off.
Belushi.
No, like, yeah, I mean, Belushi.
R.I.P..
Could you imagine what Belushi could have done, like, in today's age? Like, him and Chris Farley, like, the movies that they would have come out with, their comedic timing, just everything would have been, I mean, just so fucking good. So fucking good.
Well, you
But-
got to wonder where Chris Farley would be. Would he be clean and skinny now, or would he,
yeah.
Or
you
would he
think-
just
would he be as
fade
funny?
away?
Would he be as funny now? Would he? You got to wonder.
Yeah.
You got to wonder.
Going along with your Steve Martin thing, though, with him being, The Jerk was obviously a phenomenal movie, but a movie that my parents showed me when I was younger was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah, that was a good.
You both tell me the one scene that sticks out
I
for you in that movie.
don't. I don't think I've ever
When
seen
they're
that
traveling back in the van with the polka.
Oh, so that's the one that sticks out for you?
I don't know, that scene just like with John Candy kind of that's the right movie, right?
No,
Movie. No,
100%.
you're thinking of Home Alone, the Polka King. Of,
No. He's got the cigarette in his mouth, and like Steve Martin's in the seat next to him.
I might be
and like
thinking of Home Alone actually.
that is Home
honestly-
Alone.
Yeah, that's Home
really?
Alone.
That's when he rides in the van with the
Yeah.
polka crew and his.
So the
Polka,
answer to your
polka,
question is I
polka.
don't remember much about trains, planes, and
automobiles. So the one scene that sticks out for me is it's where Steve Martin, he can't get a car, he can't get a hotel, he can't get anything, and he goes up to the flight attendant or the car rental person, and she's all like, "Well, hi there, what can I do for you?" And he's all like, and he's been standing, he walked like 6 miles to get here through like up an interstate, and it's been snowing. He's trying to make his way home to Chicago. And I can't remember exactly what he says, but he's all like, "You know what you can do for me? You could get me 4 fucking wheels, a fucking car, and a fucking engine," and just like goes off with a list of obscenities to like the sweetest, nicest looking gal and like just goes off on her. And then at the end of it, she's all like, and he's like, "Can you do that for me?" And she looks at him and she's like, "Well, I'm afraid you're fucked." It was just such a great scene in comedy. And yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, definitely check out Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's fantastic.
Speaking of comedies, one that has to go on my list is Caddyshack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of the greatest comedies ever made. I think Rodney Dangerfield in there.
Yeah.
You buy a hat like that, you get a free bowl of soup. Oh, he said, but it looks good on you, though. You know what I mean? So fucking funny, guys. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Such a fucking
Caddyshack
great movie.
was a fucking. That was actually the first movie that I saw my first pair of tits in.
Yeah.
Can't undeniable. It was a great movie.
Yeah, and the duty scene with the candy bar, the baby Ruth in the pool. Duty! And he picks it up. Oh, it's no big deal.
fucking Bill Murray. What a legend that guy
He
is.
just takes a bite. Those old ladies start fainting and shit. Ah!
was like, what?
Like so many good points in that movie.
And
you
the
know,
gopher.
just Chevy Chase when he's got that chick in his apartment and he's playing the piano and singing and shit. And that's all like improv.
Yeah,
When he goes to he gets the sparkling water, like shakes it up to make her drink, and she finds the check for what, $70,000. Ah, keep it.
Yeah, keep it.
It's whatever.
And then he goes to take the shot with her, and
He's so fucking player in that movie, dude.
yeah, he like throws the line behind him, and he fucking snorts the salt.
Drop, yeah. So
Or no,
good.
yeah, actually, he snorts the salt. He takes the lime, and then he throws
He
the
drops
shot.
the lime in his eye.
Yeah,
Snorts the salt, and then doesn't he throw the shot over his
yeah,
shoulder?
he throws the shot over his shoulder. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
And then he starts singing that song. Like so good, dude. So good.
Chevy Chase, what an icon. Him and Bill Murray and Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, I want you to kill all the golfers on the course. Said, excuse me, but if I do that, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key. Not the golfers, the golfers.
Oh God, I love that movie, man.
He said, "Oh, we could do that. We could do that, no problem."
Yeah, that was a phenomenal flick.
Yeah, Bill Murray's amazing in that movie, dude.
Bill Murray's amazing in almost anything.
All right, next movie, shoot.
Real quick, Aaron chatted in with Animal House,
Oh yeah.
and
That's a good one,
A
man.
lot of those old comedies are just,
Well, I
and they
mean,
would not have flown today.
Oh God, no.
no, that's the
Especially
thing
like
is you
Animal
can't-
House or like Revenge of the Nerds.
Or Porky's.
Well, they're so
Porky's,
rapey, dude.
They're so rapey.
Just, yeah,
Especially like Porky's, Animal House, so rapey.
yeah, a lot of those things would put you on the sex offender list.
They definitely would.
Yeah.
My next movie pick is actually shout out to my dad because this is a movie that him and I talk about frequently. It is The Fifth Element.
Oh fuck, that's like one of the best movies ever made.
Ever made, right?
I love that movie, and I've probably seen it. I love your taste, man. I gotta say,
Thank you very
Such a-
much.
That's maybe one of the best sci-fi movies ever.
There's a reason
Blade
why I
Runner.
kept it till dead last.
I think it's better than Blade Runner.
Oh, don't you say that.
I did. I'll say it again. It's better.
Scott and I are going to come kick your ass.
Well, you know what? Mike's got a buddy because I'll kick your ass on that one. Fifth Element, 100%.
Element.
I'm not dissing Fifth Element.
Fifth Element's
But-
so great, and Mila Kunis,
Yep.
Mila Jovovich.
Jovovich, yeah.
Not
And
Mila
then,
Kunis. Mila Kunis is hot too.
yeah, 100%. But then, Bruce Willis. Come on, man. Like,
He was coming off his Pulp Fiction run.
That's one of his best movies.
it's gotta be, man.
Corbin Dallas.
Die Hard.
Huh?
Die Hard is his best movie.
Absolutely not.
Yep, Die Hard.
No.
That
It's
was
a-
his
is it-
first. That was his introduction to movies.
But he's almost the same character
No, well,
in-
yeah, okay,
in
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but in Fifth Element, he actually gets to branch out a little bit. He's not necessarily the same character. I feel as though that character is drastically different from a Die Hard or a Looper or, I mean, anything else.
Looper's great too.
Looper's a fucking
I
phenomenal
just watched
movie.
that again like a couple months ago. So fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt just...
Well, yeah, and the way they used the subtle CGI on the younger guy's face to like put subtly put Bruce Willis's features because they already look alike a little,
A little bit,
but then they added a little bit with the CGI and stuff to make him really look like a young version of Bruce.
Wasn't there
Willis.
something like that with Will Smith?
Yeah,
Yeah, they did that-
Gemini Man.
Gemini Man.
Man.
Yeah, but that was like they took an actor and like
deep faked it
deep
more.
faked it hard.
Yeah.
That I didn't see. It looked like a decent movie though.
I don't think I've seen either one of those. But
You should watch Looper. It's good.
I remember seeing something about like
A trailer or
Yeah,
something.
you should
but-
definitely watch Looper. I actually did see Gemini Man, and it was not a bad movie.
It looked okay.
Yeah,
That other movie he did, Bright,
Bright was
Yeah.
good.
where they kind of mix modern
So that was like
action movie stuff with like
like
That
sorcery.
fantasy, fantasy shit.
Sean's chiming in. Looper was makeup, not CGI for Looper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It had to have been some CGI.
Well, no, they did the contacts in Joseph Gordon-Levitt's eyes.
No, I get that, but like features of his face, I
They
feel
did-
like I feel like a lot of it was CGI, not
I feel
just
like they
makeup.
definitely did a.
Did he look that up?
Yeah, did he look that up?
Sean, did you look that up or did you?
I don't know.
Because dude, it looks
Keep
like
in mind, there's
it
a
looks
there's like a 60-second delay from when we talk. and
I'm
when
just one because it looks like CGI to me, like around his mouth and stuff. They definitely did something more than just makeup. I could be wrong, but it
Yeah.
definitely
Oh.
looked.
Aaron coming in with a great one. Throw Mama from the train.
Throw Mama from the chain.
Oh,
No,
I've never heard of
don't-
that.
That was that was another what guy jerk we were just talking about, Steve Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, Sean says yes. IMDb. The nose and the chin were makeup.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
so they were prosthetics.
Well, they did a
then.
fucking crazy job.
Talking about like aliens, those were all puppets.
Yeah,
So like
they
Jim
were.
Henson,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
creepy ass puppets.
Well, and see, that's where, like, we've been talking about the MCU and like
Mhm.
them not using so much. It would be better to see like a mix of CGI practical, and I think the balance between the two. If you go too heavy CGI, it can look kind of cheesy and crazy. But I mean, you almost can't go wrong with practical effects.
And I think Star Wars, at least
That's a good example of
they
getting the
have-
mix.
They're getting a good balance. We're talking like a Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian.
Don't even-
I think a better example would probably.
Book of
far as-
Boba Fett was
I think a better example would probably be like
I'm
the Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a seamless. We have your practical, you have your CGI, and they just seamlessly go together to where you don't notice.
So you brought up Book of Boba Fett. What a horseshit TV show.
It was okay.
Wow.
It was okay.
It was a little filler at times.
A lot filler.
It just the problem with a lot of the Disney, it's like they stack the best stuff at the beginning and the end, and the stuff in the middle is just.
And they did the same thing with Kenobi.
Yeah,
A little
Kenobi was
bit.
a lot like
I think
that.
it was a little bit better, but yeah, I mean, especially when we talk about special effects or all the money that goes in, it's all in the beginning and.
And when
the
you're
end.
standing next to something like The Mandalorian, like, come on, you gotta.
I mean, The
you gotta do a little
Mandalorian
better than that.
Yeah. And The Mandalorian was just flawless.
Yeah, it was
through and
amazing.
through.
Really great.
Was it though?
Wasn't
Really?
flawless, but it was the best showing from
From,
mean,
the
from
Star
their
Wars
series.
franchise.
A lot of times we're critical of Disney as being too kidsy, yet but Mandalorian was
Mhm.
the Gorku. I'm not
Grogu.
Grogu was
That's
very
forgivable.
sellable.
That's very
So when is it forgivable? What makes that forgivable?
because
and
the
not
story
something
was
else?
well told all the way through.
It was.
It wasn't a poorly hashed out story.
And I feel
The
as
other
though-
ones feel like they were they went, "Oh, that did really well. Let's write something else that can,
and kind of
didn't-
seems like pushed
it's like
together.
Yeah, it feels like they took their time writing The Mandalorian, like they
Oh, they did. They had the time.
and so
now that's the gauntlets.
yeah.
and-
Then they saw the success of that, and they went, "Oh shit, let's hurry up and pump out some more shit."
Exactly.
And
which
it
is
didn't get the time and care.
So Vince says, how would it have done without Grogu?
Grogu. There you
Why
go.
do you
I
keep
got you.
saying it all? I can't even do that.
Because I want to say
Uh,
Goku.
Yeah.
That's where my
How would it have done without Grogu?
Maybe not as good, just because it wouldn't have drawn in those casual watchers, but I think it would have done fine.
I don't think it would have.
It had that, but see,
No, I'm
see,
actually with Bill because
but see-
it needed that emotional connection for not even the casual viewer, but it also needed it for long-term, Star Wars fans to be like,
But that's
Wait,
the
who the
thing
fuck
is, like,
this?
Grogu was written into that as a part of, like, a piece of the story, not to carry it.
I think that's a very good point.
that is a great
I think
point.
It's not like a lazy carry. It's he just happens to be cute and is a big part of what they were doing in the story. That's why it worked.
But I think what
It wasn't like it wasn't like they wrote the story and then was like, "Oh, we need something cute." Let's put that in
I
there.
would actually disagree with you on that because I think Vince's point might be that, Grogu was the target. He was.
That's
the
what I'm
target.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if you don't have him as a target, I mean, obviously you could have gone with another target, but it always would have been the Mandalorian going after his next bounty, going after this next person, and obviously you obviously would have had to incorporate that person, that target, into the overall story.
And this was my point with Kenobi, and it's like they tried to redo the same thing with that Leia,
Yeah,
and it's like that story could have been told. That's one that could have been told without that.
I agree.
You did not need
could
Leia.
have.
Yeah.
You didn't need some cute little kid. It could have been all about the Inquisitors and Kenobi and the
And then it
hunt.
had a cute little robot, and
the
that would have
hunt
worked.
and everything
Yeah.
after Order 66. Like it could have been strictly about Kenobi being on the run
Yes.
after he left. What was the planet?
the whole show could have just been them finding out where he was. He had to leave the planet so they don't draw attention to Luke.
Yeah.
And he can't go back until he loses the tail.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So it could have been, they could have focused heavier on the Inquisitor story, their power struggle. Also, the third sister, they could have focused more on her.
her,
Her
yeah.
motivation. I get they were trying to drop that later in the show as like a surprise moment. Oh, she was a youngling, but I don't think that
Young
really had to
in,
be.
in the Republic, but it's
That
just
could have
like-
been dropped sooner, and then you could have had the suspense of her knowing that she's sneaking around.
and like
and
her
you would have
own
had that-
internal struggle.
Yeah, you would have had that triple way, like the three different story perspectives.
No, 100%. I mean, you definitely didn't need Leia to be in there. Don't get me wrong. It was
That shit drove me fucking crazy.
Did it really?
Especially her running from those grown ass men and not being able to catch.
being able to
I
catch her.
got like the strongest, like old school Power Rangers vibes just from like, seeing grown men purposefully run slower and crouch low.
These
make it
30-year-old men
look like-
cannot catch this
Like,
10-year-old
I
girl.
guarantee I'd have caught her in like 3 steps. I don't give a fuck how much of the force she's got or not.
I mean, hell, I catch my 7-year-old nephew and like I don't even have to get her from the table. Like he'll go to do something and be like,
Yeah, you could
"No."
totally just kick her foot and make her trip herself. Like, oh.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, we're getting
Let's-
off of the movie track. So,
So
Will,
we are
what's
getting
your
off the
next-
So
movie
my
track.
next one. All right, I gotta remember. Took up my list. So there's so many that just came up, and it's like, what do you decide is most memorable? All right, Gremlins.
Ooh,
Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet.
my
mythical
stepdad's
creature.
gonna love that one because that's one of his favorite
Well, it was
Really?
movies.
especially like as a kid. It had so much like merchandising kind of things as well, but
No, it did.
it's that cute little creature that then turns into a monster when you don't take care of it.
Who guess what they look like? Or Grogu, just with no hair.
That troubling age in college for Yoda.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting that they chose that same. They basically look the same. Gizmo and Grogu look.
Oh, and didn't they
He's
actually
like
say
the hairless. He's like the hairless cat version
that? Mm-hmm.
of Gizmo.
Get out of here. Come.
Yeah,
That is
and
that is his name, right? Gizmo.
Gizmo, and I think
Gizmo, yeah.
the creators kind of called him out and said that they kind of ripped him off.
Oh, fuck off! It's been so long.
I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, what's it been like 35 years?
Everything has those big kitty eyes now.
It
and-
does look a lot alike, though.
but it's not that.
But
odd
I mean,
of a
it's
shape.
he's a Yoda or whatever the fuck they're.
Yeah, whatever that
they don't,
species
They
is.
never say, but even
Well,
in
they
the
do actually in the books. and
no.
My dad could tell you.
no, I've read a lot of it. They
My-
don't.
I think my dad could actually tell you the species.
As far as I am aware, no.
You know what?
I mean, I've read a ton.
I will
of
go
the
home and I will
old-
ask
old
him.
wise.
and
Yeah,
then,
if you can. Yeah,
and then
if I'm
I'll,
wrong,
I'll
I'm
post
wrong,
it in the
but-
Comix Zone later tonight.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But as far as I know, they never
Yeah,
got too far into that, and I actually really dug that they never did.
yeah,
Because for any writer to just assume that they could step in and fill in that, that section of story. It's like, who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
Who the fuck do you think you are? Coming in here and telling us where Yoda's from. Suck a dick.
That's true. That's true. I mean, but yeah, I mean, from my knowledge, I think my dad has actually told me that Yoda does have a species within the Star Wars universe. But going back to Gremlins, it was a very and correct me if I'm wrong.
1984.
1984. But didn't Jim Henson also do the puppeteering?
It totally looks like it.
Right.
I have it on IMDb right now. But yeah, it was just classic.
And
Classic movie
and
for
Vince says, yeah, damn straight about Gremlins.
Oh, really? Yeah, of course.
Corey Feldman was in it.
Yes, he was. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Vince and his thing about Bambi. You can fuck off, buddy. That's a horrible movie.
That's his dad.
That's my dad. Don't tell my dad to fuck off.
not
Oh, that was your
Vince.
dad? Oh, not.
Vincent, not Vince.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not Chelsea.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Vince.
yeah, he can fuck off.
No. Vince can definitely fuck off. Sorry, not your dad. I don't want to burn any bridges before
No,
I build them yet.
If you meant Vince, like
Oh man.
Marino, yeah, for sure, he can fuck off.
Yeah, that's
We're doing
exactly what I meant.
Okay, now that I'm looking at Gremlins on IMDb, I see one that I should have had on this list that I didn't.
Uh-oh.
Beetlejuice.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
there you go.
Beetlejuice.
Dude, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I mean, you could add almost any Jim Henson movie, and you wouldn't be off base as far like
Yeah.
look at fucking Nightmare Before Christmas.
But I mean, in all fairness,
Edward
like
Howie
Scissorhands.
Mandel was the Gizmo voice.
Really?
Oh yeah, because he didn't do Bobby's World.
Yeah, he did do Bobby's
Are
World.
you kidding me? I had no idea. I had no idea about that. That's crazy. Howie Mandel, huh?
Yep. Okay, so my next movie.
But hold on, before we get there, Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, great. Great
Holy
stuff.
hell!
Great stuff.
Like that.
And Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. Yep.
Yeah.
That whole
Banana
movie
Boat.
is pretty much flawless. Even the second one's great.
And who the
Cartoon was weird. The Banana Boat song, yeah.
Banana Boat song. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And
The cartoon, yeah, I remember watching the cartoon a lot. Actually,
really?
you
I don't think
you
I
never
might-
saw that. Yeah,
No,
you're
I
a little
don't.
bit. What'd you say? Like you're 28.
Yeah. So I was born in '94.
Okay, so you might have seen it, but it would have been on like.
Not Cartoon Network. right?
No, it was like whatever channel Garfield was on, and
It was
Oh.
at a weird. It
Was
didn't
that-
last
get-
very
Was
long.
that like an AMC network?
no, I don't know. It
Might
was
have
like
been
a
like-
Saturday morning
it was
cartoon.
like Channel 20, or it was not the Fox affiliate, but
It might have been on Boomerang,
Oh, you're probably right. It was probably
but
on
that
Boomerang.
was all like nostalgic cartoons, like older cartoons, the Super Friends, and meanwhile at the Hall of Justice. That shit's amazing.
Who doesn't love that? Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Wonder Twins.
Hey, I just got a notification that we are live. That's
Nuh-uh.
that's about an hour
Oh
late.
God! I thought we were just bullshitting here.
I thought we were.
oh,
All right, my next movie, Sin City.
Sin City.
I gotta say, as far as so of course Spider-Man really set in my mind that we, is like an epiphany to me. Oh, we can make comic book movies that look great and don't suck.
Yeah.
So then when Robert Rodriguez comes out and makes Sin City 300, Sin City was I maybe have seen that movie more times than any other movie on this planet. Even Pulp Fiction, because that is a flawless movie to me as far as comic book movies go. If I look at every comic book movie ever made,
Now remind
and
me.
then I go, which one is the most accurate and true to the book that it came from? It has to be Sin City, because you look frame by frame a lot of the times and you're getting the same image.
Yeah.
The attention to going the extra mile to doing a whole new aesthetic that never had been done in movies before, with the black and white, and then, you know, contrast with the bright reds and yellows and all the different colors. Such an amazing movie, and it's a shout out to those older 1950s movies, you know,
The
like
noir.
yes, the noir type
noir-esque
films
kind of
where
movies.
to me that is flawless when it comes to comic book movies. The only thing that comes close, I would say, is The Watchmen.
See, as far as Sin City goes, and I've said it before, I didn't appreciate it until later because it was too close to Pulp Fiction and all that. That I think I was expecting Pulp Fiction and it wasn't. It was something different. And it wasn't until years later that it kind of had room to breathe. And then I came back to it. It's like, damn, that was a good movie.
Fucking great movie.
And visually
Solid,
compelling,
yeah.
just like reading a comic book. Like,
even the second one.
and I've never read the actual.
Throat,
I've not actually read the comics itself.
even the second movie, A Dame to Kill For one, has one of my favorite women on this entire fucking
Oh,
planet.
and Frank Miller and Quentin Tarantino directed.
Eva Green.
Oh,
So Frank Miller, who wrote the comic,
Yes.
and Vincent brought that up too.
Yeah. Also, the second movie's great. Dame to Kill For. Eva Green, one of my favorite ladies on this planet. Love her. She always shows her titties. And like every movie,
shows her titties.
she's in 300, the second 300 movie too.
Really?
Which is fucking great too. Like, so all those movies, and I kind of lump 300 along with
You can
Sin
kind of
City,
throw
because they're made, like, they're both Robert Rodriguez. They are both done in that extreme aesthetic where they really focus on trying to make it look like the book. And that's another one that, I mean, those are so close to the source material. I think they're both like equally great.
and I think you can also throw Max Payne in that.
Fucking Max Payne.
Yeah, you can throw that movie in that same kind of aesthetic there with the way they did the cinematography, very LA noir kind of mentality that goes with it.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one that you could throw in there along with Sin City and
another one they
300.
tried to keep running with that trope and then that crazy aesthetic theme, and they he did another one, The Spirit.
I don't.
Not
That's
the one about the horse.
That's a
Not the one about the horse.
no, yeah, yeah.
Good point. Good point.
No, yeah, I remember.
That was yours.
It did not take off. It's a cool fucking movie. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Just if you're a fan of comic book movies, but it's not as good as Sin City or 300 or even the sequels of those, respectively. Like those, I know the sequels of each of those movies weren't great in a lot of people's eyes, but I tend to be more forgiving.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like a sequel to something that I really, 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 really loved.
Well, as far as not being too critical about things, when it comes to the nostalgic factor, I feel as though that most of us, we are so enveloped within the nostalgia of a movie that we refuse to
See their faults.
See their faults.
So that is a
Exactly
good
that.
question. Of these top movies, if we go back and watch them, would they still have the appeal? One that I was almost on my list was, in the same reason, if I watch it again, I think I'd be disappointed, would be Never Ending Story. And where I want to bring this up is some of these
Was that on your list?
It was on my watch list. I don't know if it was because it's one I liked and one I think I hated at the same time. But
That movie fucking freaked me out when I was a kid.
But when we're talking about nostalgia, looking at this kind of new kind of nostalgia, like we see in Stranger Things, or like where everything is new. It's not it's a new story, but they're bringing all these nostalgic factors back into it. They're bringing in Ghostbusters and the Ghostbuster outfits. They're bringing in old classic D&D stuff, or even like bringing back metal songs from Metallica, being back on the charts after so many decades of being on the shelf. And so how this nostalgic property can be brought back still with new blood. And I think of the remakes, that's what the difference between which failed and which didn't.
You were kind of saying the same thing about Spider-Man, the new one.
Yeah.
And like, how's it going to hold up in 10 years? Are you going to be able to go back and go, well, yeah, that was still an amazing flick.
So it's 9 months later, I'm still saying, yes, it's still an amazing flick. But
yeah.
And I agree with you 100%.
Okay,
and
so
now I'm a little on the bias side because of, my love for Spider-Man, obviously. But, I mean, even after the Sam Raimi films, even after Andrew Garfield, I don't actually know who directed that. But I mean, and
those movies were great, dude.
Tom Holland ones, like, I just don't ever think that like 10, 15, 20 years in the future, I'm going to look back on those and be like, that wasn't that good of a film. I always believe that the older I get, they will still be very, very close to me.
Well,
it's a great story.
I think it's more than just like going to watch the movie. It's nostalgia means comfort, and like so
comfort. Yeah,
it's familiar. You don't have to be surprised. You can go back and mouth the fucking entire film if you want to, say all the lines, no matter how.
Yeah,
and it's the familiarity. It's the comfort of watching a movie that you've seen 100 times. You know what's going to happen, and I think a good time to watch those movies is when you're like maybe down.
Yeah.
Or it's cold and rainy out and you're feeling a little down in the dumps.
Time for Spaceballs.
You watch
Time
you watch
for Tommy Boy,
watch an old movie that's not going to surprise you, that you love. And I think that's the appeal, is you can always count. And that's like you're saying, can you go back and watch these movies and still appreciate them? Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think you appreciate these movies more
as you get older,
then maybe something new, because they are not going to let you down.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think of it. I was thinking of it.
Great point. It's like an old friend.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it like, years down the line, but I think you're absolutely right of just rewatching it and like, feeling like it's such a comfort to know that like
it's coming,
though you know the scene, you know what's going to happen, the line, like
you're laughing at a joke before it even comes, like
because you've heard it 100,000 times.
Talks about this watching Friends over and over and over again, and like just laughing at the jokes before they come, and you just
absolutely.
I think it's more than just like watching the movie; it's the feeling. It's like remembering how you felt when you watched it the first time, or when you watched it the 10th time when you were a kid, like Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
this was another one that was on my list.
How did we not talk about that yet?
Maybe the most nostalgic of my movies, because I grew up wearing those VHSs out.
Me too.
Watching all three of them.
Yeah.
I started off with the cartoon, like the after school cartoon.
Yeah, sure.
That was where I got hooked, and that's like when I think TMNT, that's where my brain goes first.
And like
the movie was a great lead into that. They meshed well.
They really did, and
especially when you get into the second and the third movie, those are closer to the cartoon. First movie is a little darker, a little more serious.
Yeah.
And a lot more on the comic book spectrum of like aesthetic feeling.
So, if I could interrupt you real quick,
go ahead.
I actually did not enjoy the third TMNT.
It's I think that's one of them movies that you have to maybe grew up with, like we said, nostalgia.
Right.
It's not a it's not a masterpiece by any means.
No, and I don't.
But I think if you grew up watching the cartoon, you grew up with the other two movies.
So I grew up with the comic books. My dad actually had like 5 fucking cases of comic books. They had like 150 or 200 comics in them, and so I would dig through there and I would read X-Men and Marvel.
Fucking lucky you, man.
No, believe me,
I know. So
my dad's comics got washed away in a flood in the basement.
Yeah, mine too.
Eventually, ours did too.
Floods.
Eventually, ours did too.
Well, so Vince, my stepdad, who's in the chat right now, he tells the story. Didn't he tell us on the show?
He did, yeah.
He sold his collection to a guy, went to go
Oh shit.
rebuy it some years later. Come to find out it got ruined in a house flood and all of it's gone. So that's fucking unfortunate as
That
fuck.
is super unfortunate.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, like the TMNT 1 and 2, I died for 2. Like I watched that.
That's a
I had
great
like
movie.
I had like a
Was it
special.
because of Vanilla Ice?
Ninja.
It was a little bit
rat-
because of the music. It really was because I thought the music was super solid.
I love that fucking movie.
Go ninja, go ninja,
And
go!
I wanna-
you know?
Yeah, and then when they're out dancing on the floor,
Yeah,
and
man.
they're like, yeah,
Like
that's a
that-
fucking sick
And it
movie.
came with
so
a free
cool.
personal pizza from Pizza Hut.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might have been
A
the
wise
video
man
game.
once said, "Never pay full price for late pizza."
For late pizza. Yeah, no.
He's
I
like,
mean,
"Come on, man, I couldn't find the address." It's like, oh, what was it? Something and a half.
Or,
So
yeah.
he's like in between
yeah, it
buildings.
was like 54 and a half or whatever is what he says. Yeah.
yeah, that shit's fucking great movies.
100%.
And talking of practical effects, like how flawless
I think that was Jim Henson again, if we're being
it
honest.
definitely
Yeah.
is, and
We're
just
from that same school of
the
thought.
way the faces moved on them.
There was
The
some-
eyes. I
Yeah.
mean, the eyes were incredible.
Yeah,
They could
like
actually
just
display emotion. I
how
mean,
they could do those flips, kicks,
oh my
uh,
God. Wasn't that incredible?
everything in those suits that weighed like a extra 100 pounds or whatever.
And when I found out, because, you know, as a kid growing up watching them all, like, oh my God, they actually got like mutated turtles.
yeah, they're real. I
real.
knew it.
And then, you know, you get to a certain age and you're all like, oh my fucking God, there are people in those costumes doing that
they
And,
must
and
crazy
actually,
shit.
and actually, I
Damn,
read
they must stink.
That
I-
costume. God.
I read somewhere. So you know the Asian guy in the second one, the pizza delivery guy.
Yeah.
I want to say he was one of the stuntmen from the first movie.
Oh shit. Like,
So he was one of the guys in one of the suits and doing like
oh,
stunts.
so like he
Sure, they
was.
probably recycle parts like that all the time.
He-
especially-
Well, no, not recycle, but he actually played a part in the second movie.
in
He
the
was
second movie,
pizza
so
delivery guy. He was like their little buddy.
who actually knew how to do fucking
and
kung fu
I
and
want to
shit.
say if you're in the comments and you know, let us know if I'm right about that. I'm pretty sure he was a stuntman for the first film, and I want to say for Donatello.
Oh, what? Oh, so he was actually one of the turtles. I thought he was
Yes.
part of the foot.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so Sean's saying he was Donatello in the first movie.
God damn, that's awesome.
Ernie Reeves Jr.
Yeah,
Reyes.
Reyes.
Sorry, I can't. I'm blind.
Even with the glasses.
I'm
huh?
old.
I'm
These,
old.
these are for distance, not for near up. Now-
Right,
now I'm
right.
getting
We-
old enough. I can't read shit.
We got to put
close
your
up.
laptop right like next to the B sign.
Need
up
one of
here.
those like mirror things in front of the monitor that makes everything bigger.
bigger.
Yeah.
So where are we at on time here, Holmes?
So I think we each got another. I've got one more.
We got one more time for one more piece.
Why not? So this is one that had to make my list. Back to the Future.
Oh, you can't even say just one of those movies.
You
though.
got to say
It's-
all
it's-
three of
it
those.
is a
All,
trilogy.
that's all one movie.
Yeah,
It-
you,
it
you gotta
really
say
is.
you gotta say the whole trilogy.
Yeah, the
when you
whole
go there.
thing's one movie to me.
Because it and
The storyline
Marty
fits together
McFly
so
from
fucking well.
Yeah,
to
it's
mention-
it's so seamless. You have to put them all as one.
and just my love of time travel stories. That's where it started.
Yeah.
I'm sure with that movie and just like the picture fading. So I have a picture I can show you on my bar that reminds me of the Back to the Future picture because it only has two of my cousins in it and it looks like there's a third person missing.
And you're all like, you're fucking
So I
with
call it
time,
my
aren't
Back
you?
to the Future picture because
Oh, like somebody got
so I
deleted.
can look at it to see and wonder who got deleted.
That's awesome.
Like you got your arm out here and they're not
It's like
there.
they're not there anymore.
Jesus.
No, it's just a weird photo, but
That is
that's
weird.
That's what it always reminds me of.
I would
actually
always-
reminds me that I should have been there. What would my life been if I was in Colorado at that time or in that part of Colorado?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I think it realistically reminds me of the Back to the Future. Is like because I did. What if I didn't go away to college, and what if I stayed at home?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what
So maybe you're the one missing from the picture.
that's what I think.
Oh my God,
So
you
it's
guys
like
are
a-
fucking with my head so
So
hard.
that's like a fucking like a clash in universes. Like that's where We
Yeah.
merged with another fucking reality.
So do you ever like go to flip on the light and go to the wrong side of the wall?
Yes, I have done that actually, like
Yeah.
several times within the last couple of weeks.
So all right, man, people are fucking with time, man.
Or like you know what I dug about the new Doctor Strange was their talk of like dreams being your glimpse into other
Oh my
Timelines
God,
and
wasn't that
realities.
crazy.
Yeah.
like, so you're actually seeing another version of you living their life as you dream. Like, what a fucking great concept. But like that doesn't make a lot of sense for weird ass dreams.
You say that,
Like,
but
you
there-
know
there
where
could
you
be-
walk in and you know you're wearing a fucking chicken on your head and
I was
some
getting,
chick you haven't seen
getting
since
dragged.
elementary school is like, you know,
I had a dream I was getting gas, buck ass naked.
yeah.
It was like a going to school naked dream,
That
but
could
I was
be
getting
reality.
gasoline.
Maybe there's a reality.
Maybe
where
I didn't give a fuck. I was just too worried about people being embarrassed because they saw me naked.
Yeah, but if you went to that
I'm
universe,
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
if you went to that universe and had clothes on, people would look at you like you're a fucking lunatic. But like, why is his dick put up?
It's like, oh, Bill's finally on his medication.
Yeah, he's wearing clothes again. What a
Got
fucking
pants
lunatic!
on.
What a crazy guy. Look
Praise
at this
the Lord.
guy.
Look at him. He's wearing a shirt. He's got pants on.
Pants.
What a fucking weirdo.
Who does that?
Yeah,
We wear pants on our heads.
or just socks.
Yeah, no, I think both those choices. I mean, obviously, Multiverse of Madness, and then all three. Of
We
the
can't
Back to the
count
Futures.
any MCU movies yet.
Oh,
as
no?
far as like nostalgia, I don't
Well,
think so.
Except
Maybe.
for
not new ones, I
Howard the
suppose.
Duck. If that's probably not MCU.
Wait,
That's
but
not
hold
MCU.
on. Can we not count Iron Man 1?
Maybe the first run of movies.
Iron Man 1 is definitely MCU, and I think
No, I'm
I
saying-
know it is, but I'm saying, can we include that because it is?
I think you could, as far as like impact.
yeah,
Because what is that, like 12 years ago?
it's
been a while.
if not
I
longer.
think it was 2010,
I
right?
think, I know. I actually think it was 2009. So I think it's been 13 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
See, it doesn't work nostalgic for me because I'm not that young.
To maybe somebody like a Gen Z.
So I'm sitting here trying to
could
think
be.
of my last
Which
movie.
is
What?
weird.
I'm
Or
trying-
A millennial, bro. Like,
Gen Z, so even younger than you, the next generation before you.
yeah. So I
Oh,
think
okay. I have. Okay. I got a really good
Sean
movie.
says count Iron Man. I'm with it. I think that can.
Mhm.
yeah,
it's on the
okay. We'll
cusp.
count Iron Man. That's
we'll count it.
just that first run of MCU movies. Counts.
Yeah. I don't think
Okay,
Iron
I
Man 2
have-
yet or Iron Man 3, but definitely Iron Man 1.
I have a really fucking great pick for
right.
my last one.
Okay.
Demolition Man.
Oh, shit.
That's one I watched a lot. I think that is great as a comedy.
Yeah.
Great as an action movie. It's Wesley Snipes at his absolute best. It's fucking Sylvester Stallone
Yeah.
at some of his best. You got Rob Schneider in there.
Oh, I forgot you had Schneider
You got the
in there.
seashells.
I don't know if I don't remember it if I've seen it.
Yeah. It's
What
it's
the
on,
fuck are you talking about?
dude, it's on Netflix. You definitely got to check
oh
that
my
shit out.
God, you have to watch
Oh
this.
wait. No, when they're like the and he's like the it's like the punk
He's like a
rock
super.
movie.
No.
No.
Okay, in the beginning,
I'm thinking of Repo Man.
Yeah, you're thinking Repo
Sylvester
Man.
Stallone's like this super badass cop in like the 90s. He,
I remember the
Super
trailers.
badass.
I remember what it looks like, but I don't remember if I actually watched
dude,
it.
such a fucking great movie.
Yeah, you should watch that shit tonight. Make Beth watch.
You should really watch that movie. Like,
She's not going to like it.
It's so basically, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. Sylvester Stallone is like basically a super cop. Not like superhuman, but he is just like your quintessential super badass action hero.
He's Mel Gibson.
His nemesis is Wesley Snipes, who is this psychopathic
So
badass motherfucker. And
I'm getting it confused with Judge Dredd.
well, hold on. So Wesley Snipes
Similar.
kidnaps a bunch of people in the beginning of the movie. Sylvester Stallone makes the wrong call, gets everybody killed. So they both have to go to prison. But prison is you getting frozen for like whatever, 30 years or whatever.
Long enough to make a difference.
Somehow or another, Wesley Snipes gets brought back. But also, while you're in suspended animation, they are programming you with like tasks like learning how to knit or like stuff that will make you less aggressive. But somebody tampered with Wesley Snipes' programming stuff, and he learned all kinds of kung fu and, you know, all about guns, and it makes him like even worse. So they have to revive Sylvester Stallone to, in the future, because they have like a crazy peaceful society, and they won't even touch. It's really kind of funny because it kind of mirrors society today. Like people won't like high five each other. They almost do, and then they do like a swirly thing. They don't wipe their asses with toilet paper anymore. There's these three seashells, but they never tell you how those work. And he'll be like,
Bullock.
and he'll be like, oh, how are you supposed to use these? And they'll just laugh. Oh, he doesn't know how to use the shells. But they never explain it, how you wipe your ass with the three seashells.
So good fucking luck.
And Taco Bell, there was a big...
That's the only food was Taco Bell.
Yeah, well, every restaurant is Taco Bell,
That's
no
what
matter what it is.
That's what I remember
Yeah.
about that movie.
Yeah.
They won the
Taco
franchise.
Bell.
Taco
You would.
Bell won the franchise war.
Yeah.
They will.
So they
Give it 30
like, they're
years.
going to like a 5-star restaurant and it's Taco Bell,
Yeah.
and it's just like tiny little, or you know, like versions of like a chalupa or whatever the fuck. It's such a fucking cool movie. It's so funny.
It is like it's
Oh,
the
he had
perfect
no
like
sex.
action.
And
Sean
the
says-
reason you're thinking of Judge Dredd,
Wait, what'd Sean say?
The reason
they
you're
had no
thinking-
sex in the future either.
Oh,
yeah. They would do like a VR
Yeah.
headset, and then they would just like get the feeling of it. And yeah, he goes like Sandra Bullock. She's like, "You want to have sex?" He's like, "Fuck yeah!" She whips out these headsets. He's like, what in the fuck?"
That is.
So-
I'm sorry. That is not how I thought that worked.
It's such a fucking good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah. No.
Because he can't figure out how to use the seashells at one point. And so he's like, I really got to shit. And you get like tickets for cussing and shit. There'll be like a thing on the wall. You have been fined 25, whatever, for using profanity. And it spit out a ticket out of this thing on the wall. So he went up and he's like, fuck you, cocksucker, eat a dick. You blow me. And he's just pulling out handfuls of these tickets to go wipe his ass with.
It is so fucking funny, man. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
I forgot about that part. Thank you so much for reminding me. But that
Everyone
is so
should-
goddamn funny.
If you're in the chat, you're watching, you're anybody, everyone go back and watch Demolition Man. It is a fucking masterpiece.
Yes,
And that's
indeed
my
it is.
final pick for our nostalgic movies. Who's last?
You got
Oh,
one
That
more.
was Zach?
I think I do. It was going to be an honorable mention, but knowing the age of you now, and then obviously knowing the age of you,
Jesus.
I don't know if you guys would know it, but it was
Knowing
like
how ancient you are.
it was like a 2000, maybe 2002 year movie. It's called The Last Action Hero with
Oh my
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
God.
You
That's
do know it.
another fucking great movie.
Thank you so much. I thought I was going to get so much hate
Oh,
for
that's
loving that goddamn movie, but
It goes
was
right
so-
there. It goes hand in hand with Demolition Man. They're those over the top,
Yeah, action films.
just ridiculous action films that are just so cheesy. They're amazing.
Thank you so much. I did not think anybody else was going to be with
Yeah,
me on
that's a
that.
great
I don't
film.
even think you know that movie.
I don't. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I know. Again, it's so old. Like that time frame was college.
For you.
Okay, so the
Partying,
basic
trying
premise,
to-
basic premise of the movie is
Yeah,
this
he's
kid,
really good at doing this. I'm just going to let
this
him fly.
kid's your quintessential loner nerd kid. He likes to go to the movies. He goes by himself. He gets a golden ticket
Yeah.
to a movie, and I think you make a wish. I can't
No,
remember.
because they had the weird like
It's kind of like the Page Master thing.
right, and they had the weird projectionist that was also taking his ticket, and he's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
like,
yeah.
What do you want or whatever?
And then
this is a special ticket.
his
and
favorite
just
movie
fit.
star is Arnold Schwarzenegger, not Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie. He's just,
An action hero.
but so basically he jumps into the movie,
He does.
not the other way. And I think it goes both ways because I think Arnold's character ends up coming into the real world too.
No, well, at first he feels like, I think it's like an imaginary thing, like we're seeing into his imagination.
I think it goes both ways. So
And-
he goes into Arnold's world, and
then Arnie, when he goes back the next time, comes into his world.
that's kind of, it's a cheesy kind of weird concept, but also it's in that like kind of hazy realm of like the early 90s where they could do more questionable shit on what is essentially a kid's movie,
Yeah.
but there's really kind of messed up shit happening, kind of darker scenes where it would freak a kid out.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's actually kind of what I remember is a few darker scenes where I was all like,
The very end when,
shit, I don't
when
know
he's
if I
like
should be
hanging
watching
off
this.
the building and they got
Yeah.
that like psychopathic Jack the Ripper character, which
Right.
is Arnold's nemesis
in the movie.
and he's legit scary, dude.
He is for real fucking scary. Like, I mean, imagine if you're me. I'm, what is it, 2002? I'm 8 years old. Like,
Yeah, they push it a little. It's not like Disney-fied like we like to say. It's not-
yeah.
This
You know how
cover
they
looks
did-
like
The jacket cover looks like a comic book.
Yeah.
it's totally a
it's
comic
totally
book.
badass.
definitely
They
is.
should make variants of this cover for Last
me see.
Action Hero.
Let me see.
It's gonna be weird. What? And the camera's gonna totally flip around.
It's fine. I'll stand it. Yeah, you totally
He's jumping through it. You can see Arnold's boot and like him swinging through like
The
a time to
explosion.
grapple
And then
hook
you've
of-
got like, don't you have like the wind stripes on the side?
Well,
where
and-
you got it's just
punching?
it's just I mean you got an orange wash kind of coming from
Yeah.
behind him.
And because of the way the film is, they're able to break the third or the fourth wall
very
little bit.
easily.
I know,
and they make
but
fun of like action movie tropes, him walking away from the explosion,
Everything.
you know,
1993.
him
oh my God, the year before I was born.
So yes,
Oh shit.
They'll
I didn't know
have-
I was that old.
they'll have him walking from the explosion,
2000.
walking around,
you.
not getting shot by like the bad guys, even though he's not taking cover, never running out of bullets in his gun, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And they do
era.
that. They do that stuff on purpose, though,
They do
to
it.
like make fun of action movies. So
So-
it's like definitely a badass action movie making fun of action movies.
Now that you know that the film was made in '93, have you seen it?
I think I have. Again, I think I've
You've
seen it,
probably
but
seen it.
like I don't remember.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
that was
Yeah.
it was a long time ago, Sonny boy.
It was a long
You know what's
time.
great is we've actually kept people watching on the live stream the whole episode.
Have we really?
And I'd like to say thanks again to everybody who has stuck around, checked out our live episode. Anybody who's listening to our episodes on the regular, you guys are the shit.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for having me, by
Dude,
the way.
this was
Like,
really awesome. You should come back more.
I absolutely will whenever you guys want me to come
Drag you
back.
back in here a lot.
Drag you back in here a lot.
Speaking of Dragon, like I said, check out Dragon These Balls this week. We're going to be doing Dragon Ball Superheroes. That movie's coming out Thursday. And we'll be recording Friday. Probably drop the episode Monday. So next week.
Can I just say what a great name dragging these balls are?
Isn't it great?
No, it
That's,
is.
Well, would you expect anything less from a
From Vin-
podcast with Vince on it?
You know what? I keep forgetting Vince is on it, but no, now that I think
Now
about
that
it,
you
absolutely
into-
not. What
and
a,
honestly,
what a
our
filthy
latest
animal that guy.
honestly, our latest episode, it took us a little time to catch our stride on them, but I think we really did on our latest one, episode 6, the Frieza Saga. Chelsea was on there.
Yeah.
Really, really fucking funny episode. Go check that out, dude. And then, like I said, we're gonna be covering the new movie. Really excited about that.
I don't think I'll be here for that one.
Nope, that's not here. We usually record those at my house, but
Oh, okay.
those episodes are fucking. We should have you on one. I really would be great to have you on one, Bill. But like, I just
Maybe I
don't know.
need to watch the movie and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just need to catch up. It's just so out of my
Realm.
normal.
Yeah, you're not an anime guy though. That's fine. It's really not that big a deal. Like, Ted's really great on those episodes too. Chelsea fell right in. as far as like talking about Frieza. She was she was really great on that just because it's her faves. So yeah, check those episodes out. And we had a really great Lord of the Rings episode recently with Chelsea's brother Scott.
Got a lot of great episodes all on Spotify,
ton
iTunes.
of episodes out. We're close to 50 now, dude.
Yeah.
Which,
Wow,
I don't
time
think
flies.
I'm going to consider us legit podcasters till we hit 100. But we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We can't say we're professionals until 100 episodes.
And make sure to check out the comiczone.com. Each of our episodes are starting to add links to all of the different kind of pod feeders as far as like iTunes. So wherever you get it to listen, you can find links for it on the comiczone.com.
Yes.
So we're adding more and more stuff there as time progresses, and we get cheap labor to do it for us free.
Yes, and
Hashtag free, baby.
follow us, Twitter, Instagram, all the stuff, Facebook. We also have the group on Facebook as well. Come join us.
Feel free to come and join us. I mean, we post a lot of really good stuff in there.
Yeah, drop some memes with us and have a good time.
If you're nostalgic like us, you're absolutely going to love it. You're going to love some of the new artist concepts for new characters that I've seen on there. I've seen some Harley Quinns. I've seen some Jokers, Batmans, even some Spider-Mans.
Lots of ton of good art.
Speaking of which, hold on. Can we talk about the just real quick?
We're running out of music, buddy.
We're gonna stop. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I was gonna say the new cover photo for the Comix Zone. What?
Oh, which one? Which one is it?
Well, it's a Spider-Man one. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't think so.
You want to?
Hold on, I'll bring it up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and bring that up for me. I don't know if it's changed yet or not. I hope not.
It changes almost daily, so.
Funny enough,
Oh no, I had the chick with the plunger on her head.
Oh, okay, so I'm talking about the Spider-Man with like that fucking 9-foot cock.
Oh, the one. Yeah,
you know the one.
That one was older. Yeah.
All right, so now that I just got out of the way.
Okay.
That just blew my fucking mind when I saw that.
That was a picture of me in my new Spider-Man suit.
Oh my god! Well, way to go, Mike, guys. Way to fucking go.
My spider cock. Follow the Comix Zone.
Yeah.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Apple, blah 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 blah, and thecomiczone.com.
All the good stuff.
Yep. This has been the Comix Zone. Thanks, Zach, for coming.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Bill.
Bill, you're ugly.
Thank you.
Peace.